Crawford is very, very special. I'm not saying Canelo's not, but I think he's special in a different way, where he's got instincts that not everyone has. Yeah. It's the timing, it's the instinctual things, the X factors,
because you're talking about Crawford. Yeah.
He's the weight classes.
He's the most composed guy. Yeah. What, you don't think he'll be prepared? You think it'll be a shock to him? No. He's already moved up 3 weight classes. So now you're talking 6, if you add on 3. Crawford has the ability to slow things down in the ring that very few people have, and to see things that nobody else can see because he slows it down.
Famous boxing expert Teddy Atlas cleared out all the doubts about who will come victorious in the Canelo versus Crawford fight. He called the showdown one of boxing's best ever fights to be made. Atlas admitted the skepticism. Many say Canelo is just too big, too physically dominant for Crawford to handle, and while Crawford has been brilliant in nearly every test.
Who wins between the real good big man and the real good little man? Or the great big man and the great little man? Who wins? Yeah. That has been a question through the history of this sport. We get another chance to answer that question, and that's great. That is tremendous, and you can make arguments both sides. Well, Canelo's too big. He's too big, and Crawford, as good as he is, he stepped up with Matrimorph, and he struggled a little bit. He won, but it was more competitive we thought.
Moreover, Teddy Atlas sees big potential in Terence Crawford, especially from his difficult fight with Israel Madrimov. When things got rough, Crawford didn't panic. He switched up his strategy, adapted to the new plan within seconds, and still came out on top. That ability to adjust mid-fight shows why he's an elite fighter and why a matchup with Canelo is so exciting.
That's wrong. He changed gears. He did what he had to do when he realized the level of this guy in front of him, and he got the win. But again, people are going to say Canelo's too big. He had trouble with a 154-pound guy when he went up from welterweight to that. So now he's going up to 168. Teddy, come on. How are you going to make an argument? You're going to make an argument through the history of this sport, where little guys have been able to beat big guys, because you reverse it. You reverse who's got the advantage and the disadvantage.
In addition to that, Teddy Atlas is crystal clear with full confidence that Crawford can take the belt from Canelo, but he knows it's a huge leap for Crawford to move up to 168 pounds, especially since he even struggled at 154. But that's exactly what makes this fight so intriguing. History shows that sometimes the smaller, quicker, craftier fighter can outsmart the bigger, stronger guy. On top of that, Atlas admits both sides have strong arguments about size and power versus speed and skill, but he's eager to find out who really has the edge. Crawford may be smaller, but he's got instincts, timing, and those intangible X factors that make champions.
Yeah, the size, the power of Canelo, he's got the advantage. Then all of a sudden you go back and you say, wait a minute, the other guy's faster. The other guy's craftier. The other guy has more options. The other guy is slicker, and Crawford's a little smaller, but he's good fights, but a little smaller, and he's won titles at different weight class. But I'm one of the people that thinks Crawford is very, very special. I'm not saying Canelo's not, but I think he's special in a different way, where he's got instincts that not everyone has. Yeah. It's the timing, it's the instinctual things, the X factors, the intangibles that he has, and I think they're going to show themselves. I really do, and I can't wait. Yeah, I can't wait. Yeah. I can't wait to see a smaller guy use those intangibles, use those X factors to beat a bigger guy.
What's more, Terence "Bud" Crawford approaches fight week with a very focused and strategic mindset. Instead of spending training camp analyzing his opponents, he concentrates on improving his own skills and preparing his game plan. He deliberately waits until fight week to watch footage of his opponents so that their habits and tendencies are fresh in his mind. This helps him stay mentally sharp and not overthink during camp.
Well, fight week, I'm just, going over the things that we worked on in camp, and watching my opponent, because I really don't watch my opponents during camp or before camp. You know, I always try to watch them, you know, fight week, to keep things fresh in my mind, in my head.
During fight week, he also reviews his own past fights. He does this to identify any mistakes he may have made and to ensure he doesn't repeat them in his upcoming bout. This self-reflection is part of his preparation to be as technically and mentally prepared as possible on fight night.
Look at the tactics that they do. I watch a lot of my fights, you know, during fight weeks, just to see the things that I'm doing wrong and the things that I want to make sure that I'm not doing come fight.
Meanwhile, American boxer Sebastian Fundora's point is simple. Weight classes exist for a reason. Fundora doubts Crawford, no matter how talented, can replicate the Pacquiao-style upset against a man like Canelo, who has spent years perfecting his craft at 168. That said, boxing has always held space for the extraordinary, fighters with the timing, ring IQ, and heart to defy the odds. If Crawford's switch-hitting angles and killer instinct can truly neutralize Canelo's size advantage, Fundora's skepticism will be proven wrong.
Do you think Crawford beats Canelo in said fight?
I don't think so.
Why is that? Why do you?
This guy's more comfortable at 168. He's been fighting 168 for 4 or 5 years now. Crawford's a great fighter. But, you know, we'll see. Boxing, anything can happen.
Did it look like Canelo was slowing down against Skull?
No, I think it's just something he's uncomfortable with.
Until then, though, Fundora will keep asking, can a smaller man truly defeat a giant at the top of his game? And that's exactly why, when these two share the ring, every punch will be scrutinized not just for power, but for its place in boxing history. Regarding Canelo Alvarez's recent victory over William Skull, Abel Sanchez, a well-known boxing trainer, offered a critique of Skull's performance. He believes Skull didn't try hard enough to win, and said that even though Skull won some rounds, he failed to engage in an entertaining way. In Sanchez's view, boxing is part of the entertainment business, and if a fighter doesn't appeal to fans, it affects their future opportunities.
You know, when you get an opportunity, as Skull did, against who I think is pound for pound the best fighter in the world, I think you have to try to win. I mean, I think the fans would have been better served if he got beat in a way that he was trying to win. He really didn't make an effort to try to win the fight. Yes, he won some rounds, but we are in the entertainment business. And if the fans don't want to watch you, it doesn't matter how good you think you are. If the fans are not going to want to see you on TV again, then what's the sense?
Moreover, Abel Sanchez added his prediction on Canelo Alvarez's recent fight, acknowledging that it's always a challenge to face an opponent who's not really there to engage. Still, he sees Canelo as the driving force in boxing today, both in terms of revenue and attention. Few fighters, if any, have fans talking about their next move before the current fight even ends, but Canelo commands that kind of spotlight.
As far as Canelo, it's difficult to fight a guy that doesn't want to fight. But I think Canelo still is pound for pound the sports who's driving the sport right now, money wise, attention wise. Listen, everybody's been talking about fights after this fight, after Crawford fight for Canelo. So they don't do that much about any other fighters, but they do it about Canelo.
In the end, Sanchez says he thinks Canelo can take the victory, but after the difficult fight. And Sanchez doesn't believe Crawford will be able to employ that same evasive style. If Crawford chooses to stand and trade with Canelo, it'll be a completely different fight, more dangerous and more telling of both men's skill and will.
But I still think that Canelo will get up for Crawford and will beat Crawford and maybe have a couple fights after that and then call it a day. He's had a great career.
Despite that, Abel Sanchez doesn't believe Terence Crawford can replicate what William Skull did against Canelo, mainly because Skull was running, not fighting. If Crawford chooses to stand and fight, Sanchez sees him having early success. What makes it dangerous for Crawford, Sanchez explained, is not just the size difference, it's the power. Taking shots from a much heavier, seasoned fighter is a whole different experience, and Sanchez doubts Crawford can absorb that kind of damage. In the end, Sanchez thinks Canelo will take over the fight mid to late and score the win, not because Crawford lacks skill, but because the physical gap, experience at higher weight, and Canelo's precision will simply be too much to handle.
I don't think that Crawford at this stage is going to be able to do what Skull did. I don't think that he will be able to run, and that's exactly what he was, running from Canelo. So if he stands there with Canelo, he will be successful as Kell Brook was with Golovkin in the first 3 or 4 rounds, because of speed, because of size, because of who he's fought, how he's fought in the past as far as the weight wise. So his hand speed will be a little bit better. But once Canelo dials in, as you've seen in before the Skull fight, in the last 3 or 4 fights, 5 fights after. Before a Skull, Canelo, by the 5th or 6th round, it becomes a sparring match. I mean, he's beating up on guys like, he has no fear of getting hit, has no fear of getting hurt. So if it goes past the 6th, 7th round, I think Canelo makes it a sparring match again, and Crawford's going to get hit with shots he's never been hit with before.
Even so, Terence Crawford lifts lid on surprising purse for Canelo Alvarez fight. Terence Crawford claims he will earn significantly less than has been reported for his upcoming clash with Canelo Alvarez. Bud is set to move up 2 weight classes to square off against the Mexican superstar for the undisputed super middleweight crown in Las Vegas on September 13th. If he can get his hand raised, then the Omaha Puncher will become the first 3-weight undisputed champion of the 4-belt era after previously unifying all the belts at super lightweight and welterweight. According to reports, the total purse for the super fight is $200 million, with Canelo taking home a lion's share of $150 million and Crawford receiving $50 million. However, Bud has told Ak and Barack that he will earn a fifth of that. He said during a recent appearance on the Ring Champs podcast, "I got $10 million for that fight with Canelo. I'm doing it for the opportunity, baby. The legacy. The legacy outweighs the money. 3-time undisputed ooh-wee coming soon, and I might go back down 154 pounds and do it again." If true, it would come as a significant surprise, given the massive advantage he has already given Canelo by not including a rehydration clause in their contract. Furthermore, Australian boxer Tim Tissue didn't hold back when giving his take on the potential Canelo Alvarez versus Terence Crawford showdown, and called it more fantasy than fight night reality. While he gave Crawford some advantage and he might edge Canelo based on the Mexican star's recent flat performances, Chew made it clear he just isn't feeling the hype. Honestly, he compared it to how hyped he was for true blockbusters like Pacquiao versus Mayweather or Canelo versus Golovkin.
You know what, like, in my opinion, I think Crawford wins due to the fact that what we saw from Canelo in the last couple of fights hasn't been impressive at all. But, you know, honestly, I'm not that interested in it. It's not like...
It's not a reality sort of thing?
No, it's not like man, when I remember when Manny Pacquiao vs Mayweather got announced, I was like over the moon.
Tissue even took a shot at the way fights like this are being marketed today, suggesting some promoters are selling pipe dreams instead of real legacy-defining matchups. He said, "It's not real, it's fantasy."
Really? Canelo versus Triple G, I remember when that got announced, I was full into it, you know, but Crawford versus Canelo doesn't interest me. But
really? Is this because of this new, not having to go at some promoters around the world and, you know, some Times Square bullshit? Well, I just did. But it's not real, like it's fantasy boxing, is it?
I don't know, I think the boys are...
The money's taken over?
Probably.
In short, Chew sees Crawford versus Canelo has more spectacle than substance, and for a guy who's fought top names and chased legacy, that just doesn't cut it. Even before the September fight between Canelo Alvarez and Terence Crawford had taken place, the boxing world had been buzzing about the matchup with one of the best champions in the sport trying to overcome weight class history for the sake of legacy. While the fight will be historic, it's also a chance for people inside the ring to make bold predictions, and no one can make a more serious prediction than David Benavidez. However, Canelo Alvarez made headlines recently after his commanding win over William Skull in Riyadh, not just due to his performance, but due to the announcement he made after the victory. He confirmed his fight with Crawford. Brian Bomac McIntyre, Terence Crawford's longtime trainer, is brimming with confidence ahead of Crawford's monumental clash against Canelo Alvarez on September 13th. Bomac believes that Crawford is not only prepared, but is also poised to deliver a performance that will etch his name in boxing history.
Now the big super fight was announced, you know, the super fight everybody's been waiting for, Canelo Alvarez versus Terence Crawford, Allegiant Stadium in September. How you feeling about that fight right now?
Man. I feel f***ing great about it, man. Just talking to Bud, and you know, he motivated. He ready to go.
Bomac is crystal clear about the mindset going into the Canelo fight. It ain't about weight, it's about skills. Bomac believes the upcoming fight against Canelo Alvarez will come down to skill, not size. Despite Crawford moving up multiple weight classes, Bomac isn't concerned about the difference in physicality. He sees Crawford as having elite level abilities, speed, footwork, ring intelligence that outweigh any size advantage Canelo might have.
You know what? It's gonna make Bud wiser. Make him wiser. Give his time, his body to heal up, rest up a little bit. Look, dinks here, dinks there. Take his time, getting in shape, get his mind right. Let's go, man. Let's go. It ain't about weight all the time. It ain't about weight. You know what I'm saying? It's about skills. Now, just mark my words. These are Emmanuel Stewart words. It's about skills.
We know Bud.
On that level.
We know Bud is very fast. We know he got great skills, great footwork. The ring IQ is impeccable, but Canelo, he's also been around the block for a very long time. This is the first time fans are going to see pound for pound two of the best in boxing. Bud is coming to conquer the world.
As for the fight plan, Bomac keeps it tight-lipped, but says Team Crawford is preparing to go 12 or even 15 rounds if needed. They're coming to make a statement and possibly history.
Tell us what the man that's going to put the game plan together.
We just go in there and handle our business, man.
Okay.
That's what we're going to do.
You think it's going to go 12 rounds?
We're gonna prepare ourselves for 15. If we go 12, go 12. I don't worry about none of that, man. Canelo's a great fighter. That's why his name is Canelo Alvarez. I think we had fights that night, so I was paying more attention to my fighters, getting ready for their fights, didn't worry about somebody else. Of course, I'll go back and watch it and see what I can see out of it. But I heard a lot of people say things about him, but hey, Canelo's Canelo, man. You know what I'm saying? He ain't in that position for no reason.
In this bout, the Mexican legend will have all 4 super middleweight titles on the line as he faces a challenge of a fighter jumping up from 154 pounds in an effort to become a 4-division undisputed champion. With Benavidez still seeking a fight with Canelo himself, the undefeated contender recently gave his opinion of Crawford's chances. Speaking with pound for pound with Kamaru and Henry, Benavidez never hesitated to give an opinion and proceeded to give one rooted in respect but tempered with realism. Benavidez respects Crawford's game whilst questioning the weight difference. When asked directly if Terence Crawford could overcome the odds and beat Canelo, Benavidez responded with thoughtful consideration. I wonder if anybody has an opportunity. Has a chance to beat Canelo. I think it's Terence Crawford. His IQ is on another level. He's a great fighter and he's strong. Despite the admiration, Benavidez underscored the challenges that come with stepping up to the 168-pound division. He noted, "It's just that it's a lot of weight, you know what I mean? He didn't have a hard time at 154, but the other guy was getting him with some good punches, so he felt the power. So imagine you go up to 168 and you're fighting a strong fighter like Canelo." Moreover, Crawford is locked in and ready to go. He's left no stone unturned in his preparation for Canelo. Come fight night, he's bringing the full arsenal and isn't planning to leave it in the judge's hands. Crawford is mentally sharp, physically primed, and laser focused on dismantling Canelo. He's done his homework and now he's ready to turn the heat up under the bright lights.
That's right.
The countdown is officially on for what promises to be one of the biggest and most thrilling fights in boxing history. Canelo Alvarez versus Terence "Bud" Crawford. Both fighters bring elite skills, immense experience, and championship pedigree into the ring, making this clash a true spectacle for fans around the world. With Canelo defending his undisputed super middleweight titles and Crawford aiming to make history by becoming undisputed in a third division, the stakes couldn't be higher. What do you think will be the key factor that decides the fight? Who are you rooting for, Canelo or Crawford? And why? How do you think Crawford moving up 2 weight classes will affect the fight? Drop your thoughts and predictions in the comments below. If you enjoyed the breakdown and want to stay up to date on all the latest boxing news, fight analysis, and exclusive previews, be sure to hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell so you never miss a video.